Certain types of new drugs have suddenly become the rage around the world. They're being touted as the cure to obesity. These drugs fall in the category of what's known as GLP-1 agonists. GLP-1 stands for glucagon-like peptide 1. It's classified as an incretin. It's a type of a peptide that's secreted in the gastrointestinal tract that works with insulin in helping to control blood glucose levels. Now, what happens is that when you eat a meal, the your body, especially if it has carbohydrates, but any kind of meal, your body will release insulin to help basically push blood glucose into your cells, into your muscles, and the GLP-1 assists glucose in doing that job. However, GLP-1 only lasts for about 6 minutes, and then it's degraded and broken down. Scientists a couple of years ago began to realize that these incretin peptides that are secreted in the gastrointestinal tract have a huge effect on increasing the efficiency of insulin and developing a drug that would allow a person to take, let's say, a GLP-1 like substance or a GLP-1 agonist would probably be very useful in treating people with type 2 diabetes or people with insulin resistance, in which you have higher resting blood glucose levels. The problem was, again, that GLP-1 was rapidly degraded. Well, it turns out, I don't know exactly how this came about, but it turns out there's a creature called the Gila monster. The Gila monster, in its saliva, secretes a substance that basically blocks the enzyme that normally breaks down GLP-1. So what the scientists next did is develop a synthetic version of the Gila monster saliva protein, and they incorporated it with GLP-1, and now you have the birth of the GLP-1 agonists. Now, some of the names, of course, I'm sure you've heard of them, are Ozempic, Monjovi, Wegovy. There's several of them. I'm not going to mention all of them, but they're all GLP-1 agonists. Some of them, like Mounjaro, include another incretin called GIP, glucose inhibitory peptide, that also works to increase insulin efficiency. The interesting thing about these drugs is they've been around for years, and yet suddenly now they're probably the most famous drugs since Viagra. Because what happened was people that were using it to treat, or people that were being prescribed these GLP-1 agonists to help control their diabetes, so most of them were losing considerable amounts of weight and body fat. This caught on where a couple of celebrities decided that they wanted to use this drug not to treat diabetes, but to lose weight. People like Elon Musk, Oprah Winfrey, all these celebrities, they started using, I think it was actually Ozempic is the one they used, and sure enough, they lost like 30, 40 pounds, and that trickled down to the public, where suddenly these GLP-1 agonist drugs, which were touted mainly, almost exclusively, to treat type 2 diabetes, now suddenly became a weight loss drug. Well, they were never approved for weight loss. Most of them still are not approved for weight loss, although with the rising popularity of these drugs for use in fat loss purposes, the drug companies always look for a way to make more money. They kind of repackaged semaglutide, which is the active ingredient in the Ozempic, and they called it another name which I don't remember offhand. And now they're selling it as a weight loss drug, even though it's the same drug that's in Ozempic. But there's a couple of problems with these drugs. First of all, they work. I mean, there's no question about it. You still get people saying that anabolic steroids don't work, which always elicits a big laugh from any athlete or bodybuilder or anybody who's ever used anabolic steroids. Of course they work. Some people will tell you that, well, the GLP-1 agonists don't really work. They very rarely don't work. They work for almost anybody, and the reason why is because what these drugs do, GLP-1 works to slow down the intestinal motility or the passage of food through the through the intestines, and they also produce a feeling of fullness. And the third thing they do is increase the efficiency of leptin, which is a fat cell hormone that sends a signal to the brain that lowers the appetite. If you put them all together, you find that a person gets a greatly reduced appetite, so that they wind up consuming. They wind up consuming far less calories, and of course they're going to lose weight. Now here's the problem: when you go on a calorie-restricted diet of any kind, all the weight you lose isn't necessarily muscle. Fat. Actually, the problem is that you lose muscle. A bodybuilding diet, typical bodybuilding diet, the bodybuilder will lose about 5% of the weight loss. At best, that's a good measure. If he's lucky, or he or she's lucky, the 5% of the weight loss will be muscle rather than the rest will be fat. And this generally holds true. But what they've discovered over the years is that as you lose body fat, as your body fat level drops, the body tends to get into a situation where it starts to catabolize or break down muscle. And the net effect is, if you use a drug such as Ozempic or Mounjaro for extended lengths of time, to the extent where you could drop, let's say, 40 pounds or more, what the studies show, if you don't engage in some sort of resistance training, weight training, or something like that, up to 40% or more will be muscle. And that's a terrible outcome, because when you lose muscle, your resting metabolism drops. So when you get off the drug, the weight and the body fat's going to come right back. Now, some of the drug companies are trying to push the idea that obesity is a disease, and since the drugs work so well to control body fat levels, it should be just like insulin is for a diabetic, where a diabetic, certain forms of type 1 diabetics, they need to take insulin all the time because they don't make insulin. Well, they're saying that people that have a tendency to have large amounts of body fat or large levels of body fat need to stay on the GLP-1 agonist all the time. They should never get off it. Now, of course, there's two problems with that. First of all, the first problem is that drugs are extremely expensive. They average over $1,000 up to $1,500 a month. Sometimes, if you're diabetic, you can get insurance coverage. However, the problem with that, see all these problems? The problem with that is the insurance companies have been besieged by all these people all over the world that do not have type 2 diabetes, but are taking these drugs purely for fat loss purposes. And, the insurance companies have been paying for it, but now they're fed up. Insurance companies, they like to take your money. The insurance people, they love to take your money, but when it comes to paying out money, whether it's for prescriptions or medical procedures, they don't like that at all. They're in business only to make a profit. That's their sole concern. They don't give a crap about your health. I'm talking about drug companies. They don't give one iota about your health. Their sole reason for existence is to make huge profits, which they do. So they're starting to try and cut down on the prescription of GLP-1 agonists like Ozempic and others, to make it where it's only proven type 2 diabetics who are able to get the drug. And I don't know how that's working out, but if it does work out, where doctors won't be writing the prescriptions, of course they can also write the prescriptions for the weight loss versions of Ozempic, but that, I believe, is not covered by insurance. So you're going to have to dish out $1,500 a month for those drugs, which are unaffordable to a large segment of the population. And the other thing is the fact that nobody really knows the really extended long-term effects of the drugs. For example, if you take it for, let's say, 5-10 years, are the drugs going to become less effective with time? That does happen with certain drugs. Even anabolic steroids are like in that category, where if you continue to take them, they don't work as well after a while. It's not that they don't work at all, but you don't get the same results. In medicine, that's called tachyphylaxis, where the drug is not as effective with long-term use as it was initially. And that could happen with the GLP-1 agonist. That's another problem. But the main problem, the more immediate problem, is the muscle loss. Now, it's a controversial issue because there's been a couple of articles I've seen in medical journals where some scientists are claiming that the muscle loss that people get when they lose weight using one of the GLP-1 agonists like Ozempic or Monjovi is still mostly fat. They lose very much less muscle than some of these other articles that are saying, let's say 40%. They don't lose that much muscle. However, you have to look a little deeper into that because, there could be an ulterior motive for these people to say these kind of things. In other words, they could be on the payroll of the same pharmaceutical companies that sell the drugs, and it's in the interest of the pharmaceutical companies to let you believe that almost all the weight you lose on the drugs is going to be pure fat with very little loss of muscle. But that probably is not the truth, because we already know for many, many years that even if you're not on any of these drugs and you go on an extended low-calorie diet, after a while you are going to be if you don't engage in resistance training, some form of resistance training, you will definitely start to lose large amounts of muscle. I've written in my Applied Metabolics publication, I wrote about a case study of a natural bodybuilder who went on a very, very strict low-calorie diet. Now, this guy was engaged in resistance training, but he went on in an effort to increase his muscular definition as much as possible, he made the mistake of going on a too low-calorie diet. I think he was consuming something like 900 calories a day, which is basically a starvation diet, because his big mistake was on the diet he was on. He wasn't ingesting. Certainly, he wasn't even ingesting any carbohydrate, or if he was, it was a very low carbohydrate intake. But on 900 calories, he wasn't getting nearly enough protein to blunt muscle loss that would occur because of the stringent low-calorie diet. So what it turned out when they analyzed his body composition at the end of the study, this was after a couple of months, shockingly, this bodybuilder, he lost a lot of weight, but it was like, I had to read it twice because I couldn't believe my eyes. 75% of his weight loss was muscle. That's horrible, horrible. Now, if he'd been taking anabolic steroids, if he had not decreased his protein intake, he should have increased his protein intake to actually as much as 3 to 3.2 grams per kilogram of body weight. That would have actually prevented a lot of the muscle loss. And like I say, he was engaged in resistance training. His big mistake was going on too low a calorie diet. He was on a starvation diet, which the resistance training wasn't enough. So the lesson to be learned by this for people that are using these GLP-1 agonists is, first of all, you absolutely, absolutely have to engage. If you're going to use these drugs for weight loss purposes, you have to engage in some form of resistance training. If you want to lift weights, that's the best route. If you want to use resistance bands or whatever, even body weight training, something that puts resistance on your muscles, unless you do that, you are, contrary to what some of these paid-off scientists say, you're going to lose a lot of muscle. If you lose 50, 60, 70 pounds, and a lot of people have, when they've used drugs like Ozempic, a large percentage of that's going to be muscle. And if you get off the drugs and start your normal eating pattern, you're going to balloon up like unbelievably fast. Within 4 or 5 weeks, all your fat's going to be right back on your body. The second thing to keep in mind is you have to vape. When you use these drugs like Ozempic or GLP-1 agonists, Mounjaro, you have to pay even closer attention to your diet than other people who just use dieting as a way to lose body fat. In other words, there's a danger because of the significant drop in appetite due to this feeling of fullness and the other reasons I cited. You'll be wind up eating a lot less food. Because you're eating less food, you're going to be you're going to open yourself to nutritional deficiencies, if you stay on these diets stay on the drugs for any length of time. And like I say, you could also have the same problem as the natural bodybuilder, where you're getting so few calories that you're not getting enough protein. You're gonna catabolize your muscle tissue, which will add to the loss of muscle. So what you have to do then is you have to not only engage in resistance training, you probably will need to take if you're not eating, if you can't stomach or can't stand eating, increasing your protein intake. I'm talking about meat, fish, eggs, high quality animal protein foods. If you're a vegan, it's going to be really tough if you're a vegan, because you're going to have to eat a tremendous amount of plant-based foods to get the protein that you need to prevent muscle loss if you're taking these drugs. In either case, if you can't consume that let's say the rate of protein I mentioned, which is at least 3 grams per pound of body weight, per kilogram of body weight, then you really should consider a protein supplement. If you're not a vegan, whey protein supplements are the best way, pardon the pun, are the best protein supplements to use. You probably need to take about 3 drinks a day, with each whey protein drink containing at least anywhere from 30 to 50 grams of protein. That would be 1 or 2 scoops. Of course, the plant-based diet or vegan diets, they can use the plant-based protein powders such as soy, hemp, rice, all that stuff. They would also have to take several protein drinks a day. If you take these measures, engage in resistance training, ensure that you have enough protein, that will probably go a long way towards preventing a lot of the nutrient deficiencies. There's other nutrients that you have to be careful of. Vitamin D, it's absolutely essential that you take a vitamin D supplement if you are using these drugs. The recommended amount of vitamin D for adults between the ages of 19 and 70 is 600 units. That will prevent a vitamin D deficiency. But to me, it's not optimal as far as getting the health benefits of vitamin D. For that, you probably want to go up to about 2,000 units of vitamin D. Remember, vitamin D is a fat-soluble vitamin. You have to take it with some form of fat. You don't need to eat a lot of fat. If you had like a teaspoon of virgin olive oil or fish oil, that would be enough to absorb the vitamin D. If you're not getting enough vitamin D, you're going to get symptoms like muscle pain, muscle weakness, fatigue, bone pain, and you get like a tingling sensation in your hands and feet. Vitamin D is available in foods like fatty fish, egg yolks, cheese, but you'd have to eat a ton of those foods to get really even the minimal amounts of D. And when you're taking GLP-1 agonists, believe me, you're not going to be able to eat an amount of food sufficient to get enough vitamin D. Another thing is calcium. Calcium is a mineral needed for bone health, various other reasons. It's found mainly in dairy products. A lot of people that go on diets, especially bodybuilders, they cut out dairy products when they're trying to lose body fat because they think foods like milk and cheese are too fattening and inhibits their fat loss. So if they're not taking some sort of calcium supplement, they're in danger of acquiring a calcium deficiency. Happens a little bit faster in women than men, related to the estrogen hormone. But the foods that contain, like I say, dairy foods, yogurt, these are the best forms of natural calcium. You can get in plant foods, tofu, broccoli, some mushrooms. But again, it's hard to get sufficient calcium out of those foods. So you want to probably take a calcium supplement. However, I would rather than take a calcium supplement, I would recommend a multi-mineral supplement, which contains calcium and several of the other essential minerals that could be lacking when on a nutrition program that accompanies a GLP-1 drug use. Vitamin B12 is also only found in animal protein foods. If you're not eating them, you're going to have to take a vitamin B12. Best form of B12 supplement is a sublingual methylcobalamin form. I take it myself. It's 1,000 microgram, tiny little tablet. You put it under your tongue, it melts in less than 2 seconds, and it gives you it's just as good as having a vitamin B12 injection. And I think really that about covers it. Also, you might just consider, for a little nutritional insurance, while you're on the GLP-1 agonists, consider taking a good balanced vitamin mineral. I've always taken a vitamin mineral for as long as I can remember. I started taking vitamin mineral supplement, as soon as I got into bodybuilding when I was 12 years old. So I've been taking it for over 60 years. And that should tell you something, because there's a couple of wacky medical journal articles that have come out, have tried to say that not only are vitamin mineral supplements not necessary, but they could be hazardous to health, which is one of the most ridiculous things I've ever seen, because very few people follow a truly balanced diet that supplies all your nutritional needs as far as vitamins and minerals. And if you don't get these nutrients from food, they are essential. If you don't get them from food, you'll eventually develop a deficiency, and it's going to mess you up. Trust me, it's going to cause all kinds of problems. So take the easy way out. Take a good vitamin mineral. The one I'm using, well, I don't want to get commercial. I was going to tell you the name of the one I'm using now, but I'm not going to. I don't want to be a shill, an unpaid shill, for companies. So I'm not going to mention, just like I do in my applied metabolics, I'm not going to mention any commercial names. But let's just say you want to get a nice potency one. Don't buy the vitamin mineral being sold by this crazy doctor from New Zealand who sells a vitamin mineral for over $50 that doesn't even contain the minimal daily requirements of a couple of vitamins. Don't be suckered into buying that crappy supplement. Look for a balanced supplement. Good one that has maybe 50 milligrams of each of the B vitamins, has about 5,000 units of vitamin A, at least 1,000 units of vitamin D, maybe 250 to 500 milligrams of C. That's what you look for. And maybe 100 units of vitamin E. That's what you look for. If you follow these measures, I believe that you will be able to lose almost all body fat if you opt or to go on these GLP-1 agonists. Remember, GLP-1 agonists, just like any other drug, there's a saying in pharmacology: if a drug without side effects is a drug that doesn't work, and that also applies to GLP-1 agonists. A lot of people, just to warn you, a lot of people, when they first start using GLP-1 agonists, they get symptoms like nausea, bloating, and also they get often severe constipation. Now, the constipation part can be easily cured. All you got to do is if you're not going to eat the high fiber foods like fruits and vegetables and whole grains, take a fiber supplement. Psyllium is a good one. Apple pectin fiber is a good one. If you take that and take it with a good amount of liquid, because powdered fiber always works better when you take it with a lot of liquids. If you take that, you'll completely avoid the common side effect of constipation, which happens when you take these GLP-1 agonists. The reason why they get constipation is because, as I said earlier, one of the things the drugs do is it slows down the movement of food through your intestine, and that slowed movement tends to cause constipation. So taking the fiber will keep things moving, so to speak. So you should avoid at least that. Not everybody gets these side effects, but just a warning that that they are possible. So that's about it. If you want to have more information on nutrition, exercise science, anti-aging research, ergogenic aids, hormone therapy, bodybuilding supplements, food supplements, which supplements work, which ones don't. I'm not associated with any food supplement company. I'm not going to push any particular products. I'm going to give you the truth about which supplements work, which ones don't. Unfortunately, the food supplement industry is largely uncontrolled. The Food and Drug Administration, federal watchdog agency, which is supposed to monitor food supplements, does not have the manpower to do so. So there's a lot of shit supplements on the market, to put it bluntly. That they don't, the supplements don't match the label as far as potency goes. Some of them don't even contain what they're supposed to contain. Many of them are overdosed. I will expose these frauds in my applied metabolics. I think they deserve being exposed as frauds because they're ripping people off. It's that simple. So subscribe today, www.appliedmetabolics.com. When you subscribe, send me an email, and I'll send you an invitation to join my private Applied Metabolics Facebook page, where each day I post new information about nutrition, exercise, and general health. I also have an email portal on my Applied Metabolics webpage where current subscribers only can send me short questions about anything they read in Applied Metabolics or anything they want to have questions about related to nutrition, exercise, and I will be happy to answer them, especially in appreciation for their current subscription. So you have to be a current subscriber for that. So that's about it. If you want to have the best also, I always forget, these videos, as you know, are completely free. I post a new one every Tuesday. So please, if you feel that these videos are of use, let others know about the existence of my channel, and of course subscribe yourself. There's no charge for them, I see people with their own channels. They're getting some of these people seem to have close to 1 million subscribers or more, and the pathetic thing is the information they supply in their videos is absolute garbage. It's complete garbage. It's useless. It's wrong. It's misinformation. You won't get that in my videos. I will always tell you the truth, and it's all factual. There's no bells or whistles. I don't have little childish cartoons of people laughing in the camera, that kind of nonsense. I just give you the facts. So, feel free to please subscribe to this channel. And if you want to have the best friend you'll ever have, go to your local shelter, adopt a dog. To me, they are God's angels on earth. I mean that.